Let's discuss this now with Paul Bell. He's a political analyst and joins us live from London. Paul, thanks so much for coming onto the program. Now, as we saw in that story, there's so many countries deploying more security to try and protect their borders. Is there a real chance here of a possible armed confrontation?
I don't think that the powers involved want to raise it to that level. The risks are far too high. I think we have to see this primarily in terms of this is psychological warfare. This is the way in which Belarus tries to ratchet up pressure on the European Union to relax the measures that it has taken against President Lukashenko since he stole the recent election and jailed his opposition. As for President Putin, this suits his purposes very well, and this can only be happening with his full sanction. And of course, he has made it pretty clear where he stands on this issue. So this is just yet another sort of dimension of the new Cold War, if you like, that has been going on now for several years as Russia applies its pressure to the West in the way we have become so familiar. This, however, is, of course, a fairly severe manifestation of that pressure. There's no question that the images now that are going around the world of stranded refugees, people starving, people enduring increasingly cold conditions as the winter advances, all of this is going to put pressure on public opinion in the West. However, I don't see that there can be any easy resolution that Poland is going to crack, that the European Union is going to crack. I think it's possible that this time Belarus and Russia have overplayed their hand.
So you speak about them overplaying their hand. Poland, of course, calling for NATO to now get involved. The US supporting Poland, saying that Belarus is the one in the wrong here. So do you see a situation where NATO will get involved in this?
Well, I think NATO forces are, to all intents and purposes, already involved. They will be supplying various forms of assistance to the Polish security forces, especially the army, as it manages the border. And I think we have to, understand that this kind of conflict is not necessarily played out in what I would call kinetic terms, where shots are fired, etc. There is a great deal that has to be done in terms of monitoring the situation. There will be a great deal of artificial intelligence as well as conventional intelligence resource that is needed to manage the situation along the border. There will be signal support, there will be communication support, various different military related types of support are needed to support the effort to maintain the border. Yeah. So I'm not thinking in terms of guns, etc. But this is a psychological war, so we have to see it in those terms.
And in this psychological war, at the end of the day, there are people involved here, whether some call them migrants or refugees. These are people who are suffering through really extreme conditions at the moment. This is not a good message from either side to be sending out. It's almost this concern for the lives of people.
Obviously, this is going to be of primary concern to the Europeans in particular. It's quite clear that the Belarusians have placed human concerns very, very low on their agenda in terms of what's important in this outcome. To them, these people are simply a means to an end. For the Europeans, it is obviously different. And there are all sorts of different interest groups within Europe too, who will find their own reasons for casting this as a humanitarian crisis to which the European Union and Poland have to respond. And there will be a great impulse to do so, but not at the cost of allowing a massive penetration that has been engineered by Belarus with the support of Russia in order to put pressure. Russia and Belarus know that this is putting pressure on domestic opinion within Europe. All right, that this is the way in which they sow, if you like, conflict and tension within European states and undermine confidence in those states. These are the mechanisms which we have become very familiar with in the era of disinformation that has become so severe over the last 10 years.
And these are the methods that are costing people their lives. Paul Bell,
Sadly,
really appreciate your analysis, speaking to us live from London. Thank you so much.